Designed to extend your boating season, the 2050 Trekker matches easy storage with impressive on-water performance and an extensive feature set that lets you tailor your boat to your style. Scott and Laurie from the Stabicraft design team join us to walk us through the Trekker.
Starting on the outside, we've got a trolling motor bracket, and further forward you'll see the new HDPE belting, which is rivet mounted and very hard wearing. On top of this we've got a low profile bow rail. You can also upgrade this to a taller bow rail. And then looking in, we have an anchor bin which has a lid. The lid has gas struts, so it's very easy to operate. And you can option in a drum winch in that area. With the self-draining scuppers, the deck has a small bulkhead, so any water that's in that area will not go into the cabin, but it'll pass out of the scuppers, so the inside of the cabin stays dry. We have our nav lights positioned right on the tip of the bow. It just helps to avoid any obstructions that might occur in front of the nav lights where they may be mounted further aft. So this model is fitted with twin wipers on starboard and port side, which are an optional upgrade. We've also made sure that when the door opens, it's well clear of the wipers. So we have here our welded alloy cleats. We have midship, aft and one in the anchor locker. This boat is also fitted with our optional arch, which we'll touch on later. And this also has our coaming handrail option. So starting on the transom, we have our fuel filler for the 200 litre fuel tank. We have standard brackets for trim tabs or interceptors. The motor bracket is rated to 200 horsepower max. We have our new ski pole, which I can talk to in more detail about soon. And on the far side is an optional starboard boarding ladder with handrail. So on the 2050 Trekker, we've developed a new ski pole. So the intent of this pole is that it works around your engine, whether it's tilted or not. It also works with all of the transom box options. And on the ski pole we have a bracket, a welded bracket. The idea here is that you pass your rope through the hole opening at the top. I wrap it around the tube and hook it onto this tab. And the idea there is that all of the weight from the person being towed is on this large radius tube, which will minimise the risk of any damage to your ski rope. So in this Trekker we've got fitted our 3/4 fish bin. You can also option in a central fish bin or our rigging box. On the rigging box you can option on a bait board on top or a fully plumbed live bait tank. With those central transom boxes, that brings in a additional folding step and walk-through. In the coaming on the starboard side we have the deck wash. We have fitted to this boat coaming handrails and rod holders. You can choose not to fit those, and that leaves room for rod rack systems or downriggers. We also have the ability to add wiring for those downriggers. So this boat's fitted with EVA flooring. If that's not quite your taste, you can also have checker plate flooring as standard. So as you can see, there's plenty of storage in the gunnels. We also have LED lights mounted in there just to help light your deck. So on this Trekker we've got fitted our powder coated radar arch. So you can see here we've got a nice handrail right the way across, as well as 8 rod holders. We have a bracket to fit a radar on top, and we also have deck lights fitted starboard and port. You do have the ability with this arch to unbolt it if you have the need to fold it down for storage. The arch has been designed to be fully independent of the canvas system. So what that means is you can fold your canvas up or down without the arch interfering in it. You can fold the arch down and have your canvas up should you have the need. So in the 2050 Trekker we've got swivels under the helm seats. These are locking swivels. And we also have an optional suspension unit which you can choose to have under starboard and port, as well as a storage box which this boat has fitted to the port side. Moving to the rear seats, we have our new storage seats. This gives you 6 very comfortable sitting positions, as well as storage behind the backrests. You can choose our new blade style rear seat. This allows you to stow a cooler / chili bin in from the rear. So looking at the dash, we've got a removable panel so you can mount your electronics off the boat. There's enough room there to flush mount a 12-inch sounder screen. We also have starboard and port, 12-volt socket and USBs. Looking down below, we have two 8-way switch panels with a number of standard features, including a horn. The steering wheel position on this model is biased toward seated positions, however it's still comfortable to stand and drive. We have cup holders, starboard and port, as well as on the starboard side a removable panel to mount your controls. This also has enough room for auxiliary controls. There's a storage pocket beneath, and on the port side there's a second storage pocket going into the coaming space. On the port dash we have a standard position for a stereo head unit, and there is standard positions for speakers in the coamings. The port dash also has a glove box with cover and a handrail. We have handrails further up on both sides. These are also useful for ingress from the bow. The 2050 Trekker has an option to install a diesel heater. This is mounted behind the port seat in the coaming space. The vent will be placed on top of the port dash, so this will help with defrosting screens, and when you have your canvas system installed, also heating the entire cabin area. So looking at the bow, we've got a footrest. That footrest also doubles as a cargo barrier, so anything stowed in the bow can't slide back when you're underway. Moving up from there, we've got our folding step to access the bow deck, as well as the folding door. These can both be operated independently, as well as with the canvas stowed down. So as I mentioned earlier, the anchor locker is free draining, so any water that finds its way in there can easily get out of these areas here, and then they drain straight back under this bulkhead. So any water that gets back here can't go inside the cabin. From there, it travels out to the scuppers on the side of the coamings.
The modular canvas system takes about 5 minutes to set up in full. As you can see here, there's the front panel, the side panels, the rear wall, and the roof. With the top up, it allows you to set up with just the front screen, or the side screens, or the rear wall, or any combination that you'd like.
As you can see, we've now put the canvas up on this boat. This is the rear wall portion of the canvas. You've got a couple of options here. You can close it all in, especially if you've got the heater going and it's cold, or you can roll the middle up like we've got here, or if you want to, you can roll both sides up as well so that you've got a bit more space but still got the shelter. As you can see, we've now opened up this whole rear wall section. It gives you a lot more room around the boat, but also keeps the shelter from the wind and the rain. As you can see up behind me, there's a couple of poles that help keep tension on the roof. They've got a really quick twist release lock on them, so they're pretty easy to snap up and make sure that the roof stays nice and tight. As we head over to the side here, you can see that we've got these nice roll-up windows, which just help add a little bit more ventilation. With the canvas system, we really wanted to make sure that even if you were someone that stood to drive, you could still see really well out the front and still had really good visibility of where you were going. So as you can see, there's a little bit from the middle, but everything else is pretty clear and there's not much in the way. Something that's really cool about the canvas setup is we've made it so that even if the full canvas is set up, you can still access the bow deck. So if you want to go and fish out there and everyone in here is trying to stay warm, you can simply drop the bottom down as you normally would, unzip the canvas, open the handle, and it just folds on back.
If you want to extend your boating season or find out any more info on the 2050 Trekker, of course, contact your local Stabicraft dealer or head along to stabicraft.com to check out the boat in 3D.